Flosstube.
Hey Flosstube.
I'm Bree.
I'm Ashlynn.
And this is Red Dirt Flossworks. Welcome everybody that is new to our channel for stumbling upon us. And to our returning viewers, welcome back. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share the video. We've got lots of good gadgets for you today. This is going to be one of our Flosstube extras, and we're going to show you some of our favorite, odd, and interesting things that we've discovered through our cross-stitch journey. So, yeah, jump right in.
You're first.
All right, so I'm gonna start off then, and the first two things that I have, I use them quite a lot. One, because I don't trust myself to count, because I can't even count to 10 half the time. So these are marking pens. So marking pens do not work on every type of fabric. It's kind of up to you to test pens. Hand dyeds that cannot be washed cannot have marking pens, things like that. So my only disclaimer is check your fabric with your marking pen on a little piece and then wash it, make sure it comes out good, all that, read the instructions on the marking pens, all that. So marking pens are good. Here is this one. This is the Sewology one. And you'll notice that it has, if I can get it in the center here, there we go. You'll notice that it has a purple and a blue side. So the blue side is designed, and these are pretty fine tip. You can kind of see it there in the dark. They're pretty fine point. Blue side washes out with water. Purple side is a air pen. So it usually, the ink will disappear on its own. Majority of the ink, if you don't lay it on pretty thick, will disappear in about 48 hours, give or take. If the ink still remains after 48 hours, you can dab it with a wet cloth and it will disappear as well. And again, I've had good luck with these. Some people have not, so just kind of use at your own discretion. Second marking pen that I have is for my dark fabric, and again, I've tested this on all my dark fabric. I've had lots of people ask me about this one. This is a Bohin French marking. I believe it's ceramic, maybe. It's like a little chalk mechanical pencil. And you can get these on Amazon for like 10 bucks.
Yeah, you can find most of these at any sewing shop, craft store.
Yeah, they have them all over. And it's white for your really dark or black fabrics. So those are the marking pens that I use.
Okay. Oh, why do you use your marking pen?
Well, like I said, I can't count. So I will grid off. I'm a big gridder on the fabric on larger pieces. So or even on my samplers where there's large gaps in between the next landmark stitch, I will count it out, count it again, and mark it so that I know that I'm in the right spot on the next landmark if there's not one close by. Or I'll grid off. On my big full coverages, I will grid off 10 by 10 by 10 squares, just, through the whole thing, so. And you have your own way of marking things.
I do. I use a lot of counting pins, and these don't have to be anything special. Let me see the little one. You can make your own, you can buy them. They're literally just little pins. They usually have more of a dull point, and then some kind of thing at the top to keep them from going all the way through. These I got off of Etsy.
They're so cute.
They're like handmade little pins. They have little spools at the top. And I keep them in this little magnetic. They'll always fall out, but they kind of stay in there a little bit better. A magnetic tin, and it's literally just for counting. So you take your fabric and you just count the holes, and then you can push it down and leave it there, and it gives you a landmark. And like if you have multiple, you can count 10, leave it, 10, leave it, 10, leave it, or however many you need, whatever you're counting. And it just kind of gives you a way to count and mark where you're at.
These would be great for, as I mentioned earlier, those hand dyes that you cannot wash the ink out of. This would be a great alternative for that. If you feel like you need some landmarks, some help counting, like me. So.
And it keeps you from having to use your needle.
Yes.
Because when you're ready to, if you need to leave it there to count, say if you're counting at 50 or something, you don't want to leave your needle at 25 and then have to try to count for another 25.
Yeah. Next, we have I call it a picker. It's basically a double-ended tool like this. This is what it looks like, then I'll take it apart. That's what it looks like. It's double-ended with hardware on each side. This one was handmade for me. I've showed this before, but this is one of my favorite things and I use it often. On one end, it's my very fine point picker, and on the other side, it is a seam ripper. I want to throw out the disclaimer that none of these tools are necessary. These are just ones that we have found that we like to use or that are helpful for us. So seam ripper for when you've got to, whenever you can't finesse something and you gotta frog it, seam ripper. And if you think you can pick it out, that fine point picker has been a lifesaver. And it's very sharp, you kind of have to be careful. But my little picker has been a very useful tool that I've found. So,
and you can find seam rippers at basically all sewing shops,
any craft store.
Here's the picker that I use. It's the Unpicker by Lori Holt, I think. It's a teeny tiny little thing, has a cap, and it just has a little metal tip on there. And basically you want to use a picker or unthreader to keep from using your needle, because if you get a stitch stuck and you go to rip it, you can bend your needle.
I do it all the time.
I mean, we all do it. If it's one or two, just use the needle. But if you have to do a bunch, this will save you from bending your needles or losing your needle, because half the time I'll go to pull and it
flings off
flies somewhere.
Yeah.
So just something other than a good needle to use. Oh, and then once you've unpicked your stitches, if you have a tiny tail left that you're trying to tuck back under to tie off.
For those that play the thread chicken.
Yeah. You can use, I'll show you it first and then show you the package. This is the Star Detailer, and I got this on 1-2-3 stitch. It's basically a bead with a long wire, and it's kind of like a giant needle threader almost. It's split, so you can put your thread in between there.
For those tiny itty bitty tails.
Yep.
You can run under the stitches.
Yeah, you'll run it under the stitches, put your thread in there, and then pull it back, and it'll tuck it for you. They weren't that expensive on 1-2-3 stitch. There's the package. And so I use that a lot.
Work really good. I have one too. I did not bring it with me today, but I have one as well, and I use it a lot because I am thread chicken champion.
Plays thread chicken more than I do.
I'm so stubborn. I'm like, I will use it until I have to like slide it down towards the point of the needle in the eye to get it longer. I know. Okay.
Oh, me again. So when you're starting your new cross stitch piece, and if you are a middle start person, that's totally fine. If you're a corner start person, that's also totally fine. I like to use a corner gauge. It's just a little piece of plastic. It has measurement lines on here, and they have a hole. So you put the corner in the corner of your fabric, and it can be right or left depending on which way you want to start. And then you just say, I want a 2-inch border. You come down to the 2-inch hole, put your needle down in there, pull this out, and you know where your first stitch is.
Rock and roll.
And you have a border. You can get these at craft cross stitch stores. Some stores will have them with their logo on them or whatever. They don't have to be fancy. It's just basically a special ruler
To help you start in the corner.
Mm-hmm. If you don't have that, you get a ruler, and you can take a marking pen or a counting pen and say I want a 3-inch border. There's 3. There's 3. I find the mark it, come in, start right there. So nothing fancy, that's for sure.
Okay. Next, is kind of a big one. And like we said earlier, none of these tools are necessary. You do not have to have any of these to cross stitch. Now, it does help a little bit. That's kind of the gist is we found that they are helpful, but they are not necessary to create cross stitch. The next one that we have is kind of a big one. It's a little bit more expensive one. A lot of people have these, is a tablet of some sort. So a lot of cross stitch patterns come as PDFs now. We have these, and we have Pattern Keeper on them. Pattern Keeper is, we may do a video on Pattern Keeper sometime.
Oh yeah, we should.
Pattern Keeper is a program that allows you to select symbols, mark stitches off as you go. You load the patterns in and it keeps track for you. And so they are very, very useful tools, especially for large patterns.
Yeah,
now, it's
full coverage aids or things like that.
Yeah, those massive ones, it's like I said, it's not necessary. It's very helpful. Majority, not all, you can still buy plain paper patterns, but a lot of patterns now come as PDF versions as well. You just print the pages off. If you don't have a tablet, you just print the pages off and you've got a paper pattern and away you go. But the tablets keep track for you, and they keep track of all your projects that you have in there.
Pattern Keeper is mostly for Android right now. I think she's working on the Apple version. And then if you are an Apple person, they have Markup XP, which does more things than Pattern Keeper, I believe, but it's a little harder to work with. I'm not sure, I haven't used it, but
I think it's a little less user-friendly.
Yeah.
So.
And then if you're a paper pattern person, I recommend these highlighters. Always make a working copy. So just take your pattern to the copy machine or printer, copy it, and work from that. That way you have your original safe. And as long as you're not passing these patterns out to your friends or anything, it's totally fine to have a personal copy.
Yeah.
But just don't be copying it and selling it or giving it out to your stitching group. But these are erasable highlighters. They come in a pack of like 4. There's blue, green, pink, and yellow, I think. This one's by Pilot. It's a version of a friction pin, if you've seen those. I think I get these at Walmart, Sam's, whatever. So it's a highlighter, and you can highlight your paper pattern, but then if you need to frog, you can erase it, which is handy sometimes. So
I can't count the times I've had just an ink pen, and I'm like, oh, now I need to erase. So, and we're back after a battery pack change. It was actually like an hour for us, but like 2 seconds for you guys. So
I went and got Sonic
drinks and checked on the miniature horses, and yeah. Anyway, so today's video is sponsored by coffee. We forgot to say that, and a lot of it, like all of it. So
all right,
we're gonna jump back into our stuff here.
Okay. So the next thing is you want to have some way to organize your floss in some sort of manner. Some people get fancy, some people get not fancy. The easiest thing you can do is buy these little floss keepers on Amazon or whatever. They come in different packs, different colors, different numbers of holes. You can write on them with Sharpie, and then when you're done, you can just take alcohol and wipe it off. I'll use these for smaller, faster projects. So you can, that way you can put your DMC on here if you have a master set or something you're pulling from or whatever. I use floss drops a lot, which, again, you don't have to be this fancy. This could be cardboard things, cardstock that you punch out, but there's a hole right here to put the main floss. Then if you have little bits, there's a little hole right there. And this is like a set I bought. P&B Creations on Etsy. P-N-B, I think is what it's spelled. So, and these are like laser cut and engraved. Oh, they're all different little
They're fancy.
cross stitch little things. Like there's a frog.
Like Ashlyn said, you can get as fancy as you want with these. There are ones out there that exist that are made out of acrylic, wood, different materials, or you can also buy the cheap little bobbins.
Bobbins.
The little plastic thread bobbins, and those work just as good as well. It's all comes down to personal preference.
And then like the overdyed threads I buy, they already come on the paper with a hole. This is just a cheap one of those metal rings, and I just put it on there. So I didn't even have to add anything to this. So yeah, it's as easy or as complicated as you want it to be.
Yeah.
If you're ready to dive into the stitching, then just get you some bobbins and go.
Yep. Another gadget, and some people may have seen these and some have not. These are called Bobbeez. So they are made, and I'm going to show you the front and the back so you can kind of see what the purpose is. So these are called Bobbeez, and they are round, essentially bobbins. I use them on my like full coverage because I park, and so I'll have 15, 20 strings just hanging there. They are round just like this. I'm just gonna hold it up in the back, and then they pop open like that, and then you wrap your thread around that center portion, and then whenever you're done wrapping your thread, you snap it back together like that, and it holds your thread around there. So and they just hang, and it kind of here on the back of this little piece, they just kind of hang down with your thread wrapped around those. They just hang. And so that kind of keeps your multi-threads out of the way. Just, you can tuck it under, you can put it to the side. So those are a great tool as well.
I took it under my grind guard.
Yeah.
Keep it out of the way.
Yep. So that's how the little
And I think those came from Amazon.
Yeah.
But you can get them at Hobby Lobby and stuff, I think.
So that's the Bobbeez.
Okay. The next thing I have is thread conditioner, and you can get these at a couple different places. This is the Lori Holt thread conditioner I got from Fat Quarter Shop. Basically, it's just 100% beeswax. Comes in a little tin, and it's just a little thing of beeswax, and you can use it or not use it. Sometimes I'll use it a bunch. Obviously, you can see it's really dirty. Sometimes I'll go through a phase where I don't use it, but it will keep your thread from tangling. If you run your whole piece of thread through it, it kind of gives it a little something so it doesn't knot up. Or if I'm using a needle with a really small eye, I'll run just the last inch of my thread over it so I can get a good point on my thread to thread my needle. And again, it's personal preference. I don't usually use this on my overdyed threads, just EMC. But yeah, you can use it or not use it. I just keep it in my little bucket handy. And you can get these at most cross stitch stores. They'll have some sort of thread conditioner.
I think it also works good for helping the string not fray on the end as you use it. So it kind of helps you get a little bit more life out of it.
Do the last couple inches on there, especially on like a really crunchy fabric that's just going to shred your thread, it'll help with that too.
Yep.
Next is needle minders. Again, there's umpteen different kinds of needle minders that you can get out there. This is just the one I'm currently using on my bucket. It's like an enamel charm, and then it has 2 magnets on the back. This is from Fat Quarter Shop. I really like their minders because they have really good strong magnets. But you can get these on Etsy, you can get them on the internet. Cross stitch stores have them all over the place, all different kinds.
Mine says eat pie, kill demons. That is a Supernatural reference if you're a Supernatural fan.
That one's like an acrylic.
This is like acrylic plastic with the magnet on the back.
Printed on.
Yep.
People will do engraved wooden ones. Like
this is a polymer clay one. It's a little sunflower polymer clay.
Yeah, there's all different kinds. The biggest thing to look for is a good strong magnet that's going to hold your needle, so you don't lose it.
Mad for Minders on Etsy. That's where I have gotten a lot of my minders from. She has amazing magnets, and I'll link her shop down below. Anything that we mentioned today, we'll try to link down below on a place to find it. But yeah, the needle minders are an excellent gadget to use.
Yeah. And if you're out traveling or visiting shops, doing a shop hop or something, they're usually a good cheap souvenir that you can get. They range anywhere from $5 to 10, 15, 20. I've seen 20 or so, but those are like big honking big ones.
Yeah.
So
we have a couple of big ones. So.
Yeah, I have the big witch one.
Yeah. Okay, next, this is just a personal preference of mine as well. I'm going to show the front and the back. So this is a thread bed. A lot of people will just throw their orts or their end of their threads away. I like to cut mine off, and if I'm doing a large project, I will keep those orts separate in a little jar. But when I'm traveling, I don't like to carry a big old jar with me. If I'm traveling on the road, I don't want to take a clunky like mason jar with me, so I'll use a thread bed. So this one was actually handmade, and what they are is they are little kind of book style things here, and you can see it's got a piece of felt on the inside, and your threads just stick right to it. So they'll kind of stick in there and they won't go anywhere. So they kind of, they just stick to the felt because that's where they want to stick to. So, you'll go somewhere or you're in the car and you start trimming threads off and they're just everywhere. And then they're on your piece, and then they're on your lap, and then they're on your clothes, and they're everywhere. Well, you can put them on these little thread beds, and they'll keep them in one place for you. Now, I don't keep all my orts, just for my like really big projects. As we get a little bit closer to Christmas time, I'll probably show you I have one finished. I take the old orts and put them in a Christmas bowl for the one single project, and I'll show that as we get closer to Christmas. Anyway, so this one was handmade by Jacinta. She's, if I can get it to focus, there we go. Crafting on the Plains. I'm struggling with this, here you go. Crafting on the Plains here on YouTube. She made this one for the Stitching Bee retreat that we went to in March, and we did a little small swap, and this is the swap that I got. So anyways, it's really cute. And these have, so this one, the felt actually moves like the pages of a book, and it has a pocket. So you can put scissors, you can put more needles, you can put whatever you want. And then it's got the little ribbons to tie. But you can keep your orts in there and they'll stay in there. So,
and if you just want to go to the craft store and get a 25-cent sheet of felt and cut it up,
works exactly the same.
Just the same.
Exactly the same.
The next thing is this little bucket thing I have.
I love this. I want one of these.
Technically, it's a dice bowl that I had from something else. You like roll your dice in it and it keeps it from going all over the table. But I ordered it off Etsy, so it's got my name on it. And I keep this right next to me on my stitching spot. And because I stitch in hand, I don't really have room for a needle minder, so I keep one on the front there, so I always have somewhere to put it. And then in here, I keep my highlighter, if I'm using that, scissors with a scissor fob, because your scissors can't be naked. Yours has two.
I have
extra
two.
Fancy.
That's how fancy.
Thread, I'll keep my thread conditioner in there, my unpicker and tail tucker and a counting pin, and then I'll just throw my orts in here, and then every now and then I'll throw them in the trash. But yeah, you can see it's a dice bowl.
It's leather. It's made out of leather.
So it's leather, and it
folds flat.
You can unbutton it and you roll it up and it has little things so you can travel with it. So, but again, it can be anything. I've seen a bunch of people get the little cobalt toolboxes with the 1 or 2 drawers in the lid, and they've decorated them all and they put their stuff in there. Little sewing baskets, just something to keep your essentials handy and right next to you. Those little makeup brush holders with the rubber in there, you can poke your stuff down in there. Just something to keep it contained
and organized
and handy,
so it doesn't fall out on the side of the couch like my stuff does. So we have one kind of more broad item.
Let me talk about this first.
Okay, yeah, do that.
The last thing is some sort of light source, and that can be several different things. I like this neck light that I got off of Amazon, and so it just sits right here, shines the light right on my project so I can see, because in the evening we usually turn the lights down or off while we're watching TV. So I have it there. It has 3 different like color modes, and then you can turn the brightness up and down, and it's rechargeable. It actually is also turns kind of into a lamp that you can set on the table. I've never used it that way, but it does, so that's an option too. And then on Amazon there's a ton of different options. So this is what I use for light. You want to talk about your light source?
So at home I have a couple different light sources that I like. If I can stitch in natural light, that's what I prefer. I just open the window behind me, but some fabrics require you gotta have light. So I have a DeWalt headlamp that I wear on my head when I'm at home if it's dark in there, and that works just as well. It's adjustable up and down, and I can change the brightness setting as well, so wherever I look, that's where my light is. So you can get you a headlamp from the lumberyard. And then also I have a floor lamp. I have I think it's a Verilux floor lamp. It's kind of like an aught light if you've ever seen one of those. And it has several different brightness settings, and then it has different light, like warm settings and cool settings on the light tone. So those are my 2 main that I have. So I think that's all for our lights.
Okay.
We're gonna move on to the last thing. And this is the last time I'll say it. None of this is absolutely necessary. They just make things a little bit easier, or they're cool to have, or you know, and so on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did not make this up. I borrowed this from somebody else. I think it was a quilting channel or something. They were talking about tools and gadgets. Tools are things that you have to do the job. Like to cross stitch, you have to have a needle, you have to have fabric. You need scissors of some sort to trim your thread. And that's kind of really a pattern, fabric, thread, scissors, and a needle. It's kind of the bare basics. And then everything else
is a gadget.
Things that just make your life easier, or are fun to have, or are kind of fancy. It's not required to do the job, so.
And majority of the stuff that we've showed, like, I have acquired it over time. So I started stitching about 2018, and all I had then was a piece of fabric, some scissors, and my needle and my floss, and that's all I had then. And I've slowly discovered these things over time, and then I've just acquired them as I've been through my stitching journey. So
I didn't really even know about Flosstube. Until about 1.5 years ago. When we met, she was like, "Do you watch so-and-so on YouTube?" And I was like, "No, I guess I'll watch that," and then kind of went down the Flosstube rabbit hole. But I've been stitching since 2010, 2011, off and on, not as seriously as I do now, but I didn't know about any of that. That was back when you just went to Hobby Lobby and you thought you just bought a dimensions kit.
And that was it.
And that was all you could do. I didn't know about buying patterns on Etsy and over-dyed, hand-dyed floss and hand-dyed fabric and all that stuff that we have now.
Yeah, so the last thing on our list is project bags. Project bags are nice to have because they keep everything together, and you can leave a pair of scissors in there, you can leave your floss in there for that particular project, and you can leave your needle minders and your needles and your frames and whatever else you have in that bag. So all you have to do is pick it up, open it up, and away you go. We have a couple different examples of project bags, but keep in mind the OG project bag is a gallon Ziploc bag.
Yep.
I used them all the time to keep my projects separate.
Yep, and it would be so torn up and ratty by the time you were done, but it worked.
That and Walmart sacks. That was my other go-to that I used. So here is my project bag that I brought. This is one that was made by Ashlynn. This is my beautiful watermelon project bag. It is vinyl front, so you can see through it. You can see the project with my Jack Skellington zipper pull. And then the back is quilted green because we've got to have, you know, watermelon. It's summertime. Yep. So that's the project bag that I brought.
I like this one. I think this is some sort of soft and stable
on the inside,
fusible something in here. So it's got a little bit of a stand up to it. So you can put them in a basket or something and you can line them up, and it will kind of stand up and it won't flop over. And then the only thing, and I've seen this is a debate on the in the cross stitch world, using vinyl front or not. They used to be really big because you can see, but then sometimes patterns will get stuck. So don't leave it in your car in the summer with the pattern there, because it will like lift the ink and it will stick to the vinyl.
Yeah.
So, but you know,
so super cute. Just put a little tag on there that says "Made in the Country." Little tags right there.
And I make Breeze big enough to fit an 11 by 11.
Oh look, there's some dog hair in there.
Q-snap, I think.
Yeah, it's got some. It's not just like fluffy. Like it's got some.
Yeah. I don't like a floppy
It's got
bag.
some stay power to it. So
We like stiff bags.
I like stiff bags.
These are another couple that I made.
These are the fancy ones.
Again, you can make this at home. If you have a sewing machine, you can make this no matter how experienced you are. There are a ton of tutorials. We've made bags.
We have
a couple
under the watchful eye of Ashlynn.
1 or 2 bags. But YouTube videos, you just rewind, slow it down, and just watch and watch. So I'll try to link a couple tutorials down there. But these are kind of big right now. These patchwork bags, and it's lined. My project. This is my new project. I'll give you a sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
The next Flosstube. But I've got my pattern, my floss, my fabric, extra floss in there. So it's all just in there. And again, it's got some good stand up to it.
It's got some rigidity.
Cute on the back. This is my tablet case that I keep my tablet in for pattern keeper. I made this. I believe this is soft and stable, so it's got a good squishy cushion to it, because if you're putting your iPad or your tablet or whatever in here, you want it to have some squishy. So I made those. And then this is a bag I purchased, but again, you do not have to be this fancy.
No.
I did not make this one. This is one that's a little more complicated than I would do, but it unzips.
That's fancy.
And then
I need one of those. For
you
traveling.
Make your own on that one. I don't know if we'll make you one of these.
Yeah, I need you to make me one of those. Okay.
It's got like a needle part here. It's got 3 zipper pockets in there, and then you can put in between. And it opens. This is what I keep my needles in, needle minders, little scissors. This is kind of like I'm starting a project. Keep my corner gauge and everything in there. I'll grab it, get a needle, and then get it ready. But again, you don't have to be this fancy. You can get a 50-cent makeup bag that somebody at the thrift store that somebody donated.
You can get a quart-size Ziploc bag.
Yep, and you can put your stuff in there. Like, I'm always looking at the thrift store for just cute little makeup travel bags or whatever to put projects in. And
yeah. So, anything that we've shown, they're just gadgets that we've come across that we've found. Oh yeah, there's my bag. So this one was handmade for me. You can open it up. It's got stuff in it. But that's just a little pouch with a zipper on it and a little leather zipper pull, and that's what I keep my stuff in. Just a plain Jane.
And again, this is easy to make. This is like 2 pieces of fabric and
sewed together with a zipper. Yeah. So they don't have to be complicated. They can be easy. This is a little pouch. Did you make this one?
Jacinta made this.
Jacinta made this one for me. Little pouch with
I think
a button.
It's like a business card holder
Business
or
card
something,
holder.
but
And I use it to keep my floss bobbins in for the project that I'm working on. And I'm going to do a sneak peek too. So
that one's cool.
there it is. That's what you get. Little sneak peek right there in the corner. Okay, for next Flosstube. So,
which will hopefully be the beginning of June. I think we're gonna try to do a full Flosstube.
The plans right now, we'll go over our plans and then we'll wrap it up. We are gonna do a Flosstube 1st of June, like she said. I am going to Branson, Missouri, and if you've ever been to Branson, Missouri, they have Cecilia samplers. So of course I'm gonna go frequent Cecilia samplers. We're gonna go patronize her.
I'm just gonna give her some money and say get me some stuff.
So we get her some stuff. I'm gonna get some stuff. And then we do have some stitching to show you. Life's been a little bit crazy, and this month is crazy. There's something every single weekend, and so I personally have not gotten a ton of stitching done, and so I'm wanting to kind of beef the stitching up a little bit so we have some good stuff to show you. So
yeah, that's why we haven't done the regular Flosstube, is we just haven't had time.
So okay, I think that about wraps us up.
Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions about anything we showed that we didn't have a link for, just message us.
Comment below.
Comment below. We'll try to be better at checking the comments. Our social media is kind of all over the place. She has the YouTube, but I have the Instagram, and we're not
we have a personal
on
Instagram.
Facebook. And then if you want a quick message, Instagram is the best place.
Yeah.
I usually get those, and then we try to check the comments more recently. So yeah, if you have questions, we can get you some answers.
Yeah. So, alrighty. Well, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And thank you for returning viewers again. And welcome if this is your first time seeing us. We hope you'll stick around. We do 2 to 3 different types of videos. We usually do Flosstube extras, and then we'll do full Flosstubes to show our work, our progress, finished stuff like that. And that's kind of how we roll. So I think we will see you guys next time. So bye guys. See ya.
I think it's like an hour or so.
You see my shirt?
Centered.
Talk to me, Rooster. Okay.
Maybe one day we'll get to film at the kitchen table or something.
Yeah, or like back at my house.
Yeah. So we don't have the crinkle.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Reach.
Yeah.